The next product in the family of ELK Stack is Logstash. Logstash is an open source tool that collects, parse, and transforms the data. It can collect the data from the different sources like database, internet, mobile, etc. And it can accept the data in any format like text, graphs, pictures, etc. And then it processes it and forward it to the next element in the pipeline for further use. Here is the definition for Logstash. Now let's go to the next part, that is the Logstash structure. What is Logstash structure? As you can see in the diagram, the Logstash structure consists of the source and destination, and in between there are three components: input, filter, and output. The input stage generates the event, whereas the filter stage modifies the event and send it to the output stage. The output stage then ship it to the destination. The input and the output stages are the required elements, whereas the filter element is an optional component. There is another component as well by the name of codecs, and these are basically stream filters that can operate as part of an input or output stage. Now let us discuss more about the Logstash plugins. As you can see in the diagram, the left hand side we have the input plugins, and on the right hand side we can have the output plugins. The input plugins are categorized based upon their features. For example, if you are dealing with the logs and metrics, then input plugins are categorized into the logs and metrics section. It can contain like Apache log, system log, and file beats. We'll be covering in details about the file beats during the Elasticsearch section. The second category is the web. So the other kind of input plugins are web based. When the input is taken from the web, it can contain the input plugins of Twitter, HTTP requests, and not only the web based, but it can accept the inputs from the sensors as well as the IoT devices, like it can accept the input from the mobile devices, vehicles, or even healthcare sensors. And the input can be of any format, like it can be a database, it can be graphs or pictures. Same way, the output plugins can be categorized based upon its features. Like if we are analyzing the logs, then the Logstash process the data and send it to the analytic logs like the Elasticsearch and MongoDB. And if we want to archive the output from the Logstash, then we can use the archiving plugins like HDFS or S3, where HDFS is Hadoop distributed file system. If we are dealing with the big data, then we will use this kind of plugin for archiving. Similarly, S3 is an archiving mechanism used in the AWS cloud computing. If we are going to monitor the logs, then we'll be using the monitoring plugins just like Nagios, Zabbix, or AWS CloudWatch. In case the output wants to send the alert, then we can use the alerting based plugins. They fall in the category of alerting, and they can be email or SNS. And if the output is of database store type, then we can use data store output plugins. The categories of data stores are JDBC, Kafka, RabbitMQ or Amazon SQS. And these plugins are hyperlinks. If you see that, if you wanted to know the details of any of the plugins, you just click on that particular link and it will bring it to the website of that particular plugin. So for example, if you wanted to know the details of the Elasticsearch output plugin, then it will redirect to that site and it will give you the details of that particular plugin. So for example, it can give you the plugin version, the release information and the change logs. Also, it will help you to provide the configuration details of this plugin and its usage. So configuration details, it will tell you the input type and the settings. So that is the complete set of configuration details of that particular plugin in case you wanted to know more about that plugin. Now, apart from the input and output plugins, there are other kind of plugins available, and these are filter plugins or codec plugins. The filter plugins and the codec plugins are the optional plugins, whereas input and output plugins are the compulsory plugins. Now, there are certain set of Logstash plugin commands available. In case you wanted to know the details of your plugins available, then you can use the plugins list command. Now we'll see how to list out all the available plugins. When you go to your Logstash installation directory, we'll cover in the later section how to install the Logstash. So currently we assume that the Logstash is already installed on your machine. For example, in our case, our Logstash is installed under this directory and there is a logstash.bat file available, and when you run this command from your command prompt window with your plugin command and the list option, it will list down all the available plugins installed on your machine. Let's try to run this command. First, let's switch to this directory where Logstash is installed. After that, we'll give the command logstash plugin and then list. So once we run this command, it will take a while, and once it is completed, it will list down all the available plugins on your machine. Now see, it has listed down all the plugins that are installed on your machine. Now you can see that there are 4 different kind of plugins it has displayed. As we discussed, first one is the codec, then filter, then input and output plugins, as shown in this screenshot in the different color formats. As we discussed that codec and filter plugins are the optional one, whereas input and output plugins are the essential component. In case you wanted to know the version details along with the plugins that are installed, the parameter you have to give is --verbose. So we'll go back to our command prompt and add this parameter verbose and execute this command. Now it will list down all the plugins along with the version details. Now see, it will display all the plugins along with the respective version details. Now, the next command is plugins list group. It will display all the plugins which are categorized into the specific groups. As we have seen that there are four kind of groups: the codec, the filter, the input and the output. In case you want to see all the plugins which are installed from the output group category, then you have to provide this parameter hyphen group output. So in this case it will list down all the plugins which are from the output group. It will skip rest of the groups and it will only show you the plugins which fall under the category of output. Now see the output of this command. It only listed down all the plugins in the verbose mode which belongs to the group output. Right? The next command is install. So in case you do not have a particular plugin which is installed but wanted to install on your machine, then the command you need to use is logstash plugin.bat install the plugin name. So suppose we wanted to install the plugin logstash output Kafka. Now if this plugin is not already available on your machine, it will try to validate it. Once it is validated, then it will try to install. It will ask you for the permissions. If you allow only, then it will. So since I do not have permission, it will require the admin rights. So I cannot install on this machine, right? So if you allow the permission, it will proceed and try to install that plugin. So in my case I cannot install it, so I'll stop the command here. But once it is installed, it will be giving you the output installed successfully, right? So in my case I do not have the admin access, so now it installed it in a non-admin mode, right? So you will not have the administration access in that case, but it anyhow installed that plugin. So this is how you can install the plugins through this command. The next command in this category, to remove the plugin. In case you wanted to remove the plugin which have already installed, the command is logstash plugin remove and the plugin name. So it will first search that this particular plugin is already installed. If it is found the plugin, it will try to remove it from your Logstash plugin directory. So let's see the output of this particular command. Yeah, so it could successfully remove the plugin which we have installed a couple of minutes back. The next command is, there's one command update. So if we wanted to update a particular plugin, it will try to update that plugin. For example, let's try to update a plugin from the given list. For example, we wanted to update Nagios plugin. So the command will be logstash plugin update logstash output Nagios. So it will try to update the plugin if it is not having the latest version available, right? If it is already updated, it will skip it, but if it is found that the installed version is not the latest one, it will try to update the version of that plugin on your machine. Since the plugin was already in updated mode, so it skipped the update command and returned the output no plugin updated. Now let's try some other plugin to update it, and let's see if we have any luck to update that other plugin. Suppose we wanted to update the output plugin Logstash output TCP. Let's see whether it's able to update that plugin or not. If it will be already updated, it will again give us the output that no plugin updated. But if it will be having the older version, that it will definitely update to the next version and will be having the updated version. So let's see what will be the output of this command this time. Good enough. So you can see the output this time. It has updated the TCP plugin from version 5.0.4 to 6.0.0, right? So that's how you can update the plugins. There's another command in case you wanted to update all the plugins that are installed on your machine. Then the command is logstash plugin.bat space update without any plugin name. So it will try to update all the plugins which are not already updated. So I am not gonna execute this command because it will take some time to update all the plugins. So you can see on the screen in this screenshot, it has updated a couple of plugins which were already having the previous version, and now it's updated to the latest version. So this is all about the Logstash plugins update command. With that, we have completed about the Logstash and its plugins.